Hello everyone. Now let's learn Class 10 English, Chapter 4 in First Flight from the Diary of Anne Frank. Introduction to the lesson. This lesson is an excerpt from The Diary of a Young Girl. It is an autobiography that was first published in 1947. In this, Anne Frank expresses her thoughts in her diary, which was gifted to her on her 13th birthday. She names the diary Kitty, which she considers as her only true friend. She mentions about her childhood, her family, and a lot other things that she told no one else. In this lesson, Anne talks about being lonely and having no one to talk to, despite being surrounded by family and around 30 people whom she called her friends. Thus, she takes the decision of writing her feelings in a diary. Anne feels that it is strange and unusual for her to write in a diary about her feelings and experiences because it was the first time she was doing it. She thinks that no one would be interested in reading about a 13-year-old schoolgirl. She feels the need to write because there were a lot of thoughts and she needed to get them off her mind. So she makes the decision of writing a diary. Anne feels that paper has more patience than people. This realization came to her one day when she was feeling more sad and depressed. She chose to confide more in her diary because she felt there was no friend who could listen to her with enough patience. She has a loving family, loving aunts, and a good place to stay. This depicts a clear picture of a happy family, but the one thing that lacks in her life is the presence of a true friend with whom she can share everything. So she decided to write her feelings in the diary. Usually, when someone is writing in a diary, they list down all the facts about them, which Anne does not want to do. She wants the diary to be her friend and decides to name the diary as Kitty. Anne provides a brief sketch of her life. Hoping that someone would read her diary one day, she thinks that writing without giving details about the background story would be ineffective. Anne refers to her father as the most lovable father one could get. Her father married her mother when he was at the age of 36 and she was 25. She and her sister Margot were both born in Frankfurt. As soon as Anne turned 4, her father moved to Holland, followed by her mother in September, while both the sisters stayed with their grandmother in Aachen. Margot was also sent to Holland in December, followed by Anne in February, who was brought as a birthday present for Margot. In Holland, Anne was sent to Montessori Nursery School. She started from first form. She had Mrs. Cooperus, the headmistress, as her teacher in sixth form, who even cried at the time of farewell. In 1941, the author's birthday could not be celebrated well because her grandmother fell ill and underwent an operation. Unfortunately, her grandmother left them in January 1942 and misses her grandmother more than anyone knows. On June 20, 1942, Anne begins writing in her diary, addressing it as her friend Kitty. She mentions how her entire class is nervous about their results. It is unpredictable and will be decided by a meeting of teachers in which they will select students to be moved to next class or kept back. Anne feels that there are many weak students in the class who should be detained. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth, Anne said. Their decision could not be predicted. The only subject Anne is not sure about is maths, but all they could do was waiting for the result and not lose their hope. She tells how she has a great relationship with all her teachers except the math professor, Mr. Keesing. He was constantly irritated by Anne's talkativeness. Despite several warnings, Anne did not stop talking in his classes, which prompted him to give her extra homework as punishment. The first one was to write an essay on Chatterbox. She wrote essays that were funny and explained that this was a trait that she inherited from her mother and not much could be done about it. The next topic was an incorrigible chatterbox. And the third one, quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. She finally wrote her third assignment in the form of a poem, which turned out to be great. To her good luck, the professor took it lightly. Also, Mr. Keesing, the professor, started cracking jokes every now and then in front of the class. Let's conclude the lesson with a quote from the diary of Anne Frank. Laziness might be attractive, but work gives satisfaction. Thank you.